The sky above Earth was calm that evening, painted in soft shades of orange and pink. People went about their lives, completely unaware of the silent watchers far beyond their atmosphere. Deep in the void of space, a fleet of ships glided with quiet precision. They were unlike anything humans had ever imagined, sleek, dark, and seemingly alive. Each craft moved with intelligence, as if thinking for itself, scanning the blue planet below. The aliens inside the fleet had observed countless worlds, but something about Earth made them pause. The scout ship, smaller and faster than the others, hovered just above the atmosphere. Its sensors scanned the cities, the forests, and the oceans. The alien inside the ship was unlike the humans it watched. Tall and slender, with shimmering silver skin and eyes that could see infrared, ultraviolet, and the electromagnetic waves of the planet, it had lived for centuries traveling from one system to another. "Do not attack them," the scout whispered into its communication device, a low hum vibrating through the cold metal cabin. Its voice carried a warning that was more instinct than thought. The other ships listened but were confused. They had always destroyed weaker civilizations without hesitation. Why would this one be different? The scout's vision narrowed on the lights of a small city. People were driving home, walking their dogs, and laughing in cafes. Nothing about them seemed threatening. Yet, in the alien's mind, the warning repeated like a drumbeat: they will never let you flee. In the control room of one of the larger alien ships, a commander frowned. "Scout, are you certain?" it asked, its voice sharp and metallic. "These humans are primitive. They cannot challenge us." The scout turned its head, eyes glowing faintly. "I have seen their kind before," it said. "Not these humans specifically, but I have studied worlds like this. Every time, we assumed we were superior, and every time, the results were unpleasant. These creatures fight with a determination I have rarely encountered. They adapt, they unite, and they endure. Attack them, and they will make sure you regret it. They will never allow you to leave easily." There was silence for a moment. The commander considered the warning. Then it barked an order. "Prepare for a standard probe. We need more information before we decide." The scout shook its head but did not protest further. It had been overruled before, many times. Yet a sense of unease lingered like a shadow in its mind. Back on Earth, no one noticed the small flashes in the sky. Satellite operators in observatories thought it was a meteor shower. Children playing in the park pointed at streaks of light, calling them shooting stars. Nobody could know that these flashes were the vanguard of an alien fleet, quietly positioning itself, waiting for the right moment to observe or strike. The first probe ship descended slowly over the Atlantic Ocean, cloaked from human sensors. Inside, the aliens monitored ocean traffic, air currents, and electromagnetic signals. They took note of the massive cities along the coasts, the strange towers that blinked with light at night, and the humans who moved in such chaotic yet precise patterns. "Remarkable," the scout muttered to itself. "They are weak individually, but together they are unpredictable. Their chaos is a kind of intelligence." On the surface, a naval radar station picked up something strange. "Sir, we're seeing unidentified objects in low orbit," a technician reported. "They're moving in formation, but the radar can't classify them. They're not like anything we've tracked before." The officer frowned. "Keep monitoring. Alert command, but don't panic. Let's not jump to conclusions." Meanwhile, the scout had zoomed its sensors on a group of humans on a beach. They were laughing, tossing a ball, and completely unaware of the distant eyes watching them. The alien's mind processed patterns of behavior, probabilities of reaction, and potential threats. It saw kindness, curiosity, stubbornness, and courage, all traits it had seen in other worlds, but amplified here. "They fight differently," the scout whispered. "They do not fight just to survive, they fight to protect, to endure, to exist. That is why attacking them is dangerous. That is why they will never let us leave." Back in the alien fleet, other ships began to move in formation. Some of the younger captains were eager for a test attack, curious about these weak primitives. They did not understand the weight of the scout's warning. The scout transmitted a final message to them, a pulse that carried more than words: "Think twice. Earth is not what it seems." As night fell across the planet, humans slept under a sky full of silent watchers. The aliens studied their cities, their defenses, and their innovations. For now, the human race remained oblivious. But the scout felt a strange pull, a mixture of caution and awe. In all its journeys across the stars, it had never encountered a species that inspired both fear and respect in the same heartbeat. The first night of observation passed without incident, but the scout knew this was only the beginning. Somewhere deep in the fleet, discussions began. Some argued for caution, some for aggression. But one truth remained clear in the scout's mind: these humans would fight. They would endure. And if the aliens made a mistake, if they attacked without understanding, leaving Earth would not be an option. Far away from the cities, in a quiet forest, a lone owl hooted. Its call echoed into the night, carrying a message the humans could not understand. Above, in the infinite black, the alien fleet hovered like a predator unsure of its prey. The first threads of what could become an epic conflict had been woven. And for the first time in its long existence, the scout felt something new: uncertainty. The humans were weak, but the cost of underestimating them would be high. Days passed since the alien fleet had first arrived above Earth. Humans remained unaware of the silent observers in the sky. They went about their daily routines, thinking the universe was calm and familiar. But above them, the alien fleet grew restless. The younger captains were eager to test the humans' defenses, curious if the scouts' warnings were true. A small probe ship separated from the main fleet and descended toward Earth. Its sleek surface reflected the light of the sun as it approached a remote military testing area. Inside, the aliens monitored human activity, eager to see how the creatures would react under pressure. The scout warned them once more, its voice tense: do not underestimate them. Even small forces can surprise you. The probe deployed tiny drones to observe human communication networks, radar stations, and military bases. To the aliens' surprise, humans noticed the probes almost immediately. Radar systems tracked the unidentified objects, and fighter jets scrambled to intercept them. Although the humans had never seen such ships before, they acted with precision, coordinating their defenses in minutes. The aliens watched in disbelief as humans analyzed the threat and responded. Drones were destroyed, signals jammed, and electronic countermeasures deployed. The scout whispered, "See? Even a minor intrusion triggers strategy. They adapt instantly." On the ground, soldiers and scientists worked together to understand the strange phenomenon. Engineers quickly modified radar software to track the alien drones, while pilots flew in formation to intercept them. Every human action was measured, calculated, and surprisingly effective. The aliens realized these creatures did not panic; they learned and adjusted in real time. The probe attempted to retreat, but humans anticipated this as well. Using satellite-guided missiles, they forced the probe to change course, trapping it in a remote ocean area. For the first time, the aliens felt a sense of unease. "They are not just survivors," the scout said. "They are clever, united, and relentless. If they fight this way now, imagine a full-scale conflict." The humans' ingenuity amazed the fleet. Civilian drones joined military defenses, and local authorities coordinated evacuation and safety measures with remarkable speed. Every human seemed to understand their role in the defense, even without prior experience with alien technology. The scout observed quietly, impressed by their ability to work together under pressure. Back in the fleet, the commanders debated their next move. The younger captains wanted to attack fully, to prove their strength, but the scout's warning echoed in their minds. "Each probe we send is countered," the scout said. "Their strength lies not in weapons, but in adaptability. They learn, they unite, and they endure. They will never let us leave without a fight." As night fell on Earth, humans repaired the damages caused by the probe and began analyzing the strange energy signatures left behind. Scientists and engineers speculated about the origins of the ships, but no one could have imagined the truth. Meanwhile, the aliens regrouped, realizing their initial assumptions were dangerously wrong. The first encounter ended without major conflict, but it left a lasting impression on both sides. Humans remained unaware of the scout observing them silently, while the alien fleet realized that Earth was far more dangerous than it seemed. The scout knew this was only the beginning. Humans would adapt to every challenge, and the fleet could not predict all their moves. The warning repeated in the scout's mind: "They will never let us flee." These humans were unpredictable, clever, and relentless. And if the fleet made a mistake in judgment, the consequences could be disastrous. Far below, ordinary humans returned to their homes, still unaware of the alien eyes watching them. They laughed, slept, and dreamed, not knowing that the first encounter had already tested them, and that they had passed in ways the universe had never expected. The stage was set for what would come next. The aliens now knew that underestimating humans would be a costly mistake, and the humans, though unaware, had already proven that their fight would be unlike any other in the galaxy. The morning after the alien fleet's arrival, the scout ship hovered silently above Earth, its sensors scanning every corner of the planet. Inside the ship, the alien watched cities bustling with life. Humans were strange creatures, unpredictable and stubborn. They moved as if every step mattered, yet each action seemed chaotic. The scout could not understand their motivations completely, but it knew one thing for certain: underestimating them would be a grave mistake. In the fleet's command center, the aliens gathered to discuss the scout's report. The younger captains were eager to attack, calling the humans weak and defenseless. They spoke with confidence, planning strikes and testing weapons on simulations. But the scout shook its head, its silver eyes glowing with warning. "You do not understand," it said. "These humans are not as fragile as they appear. They are clever, persistent, and united. If you attack them without care, they will make your retreat impossible." A murmur spread through the room. The commander's eyes narrowed. "Impossible. They are primitive. How can you claim they will stop us?" The scout projected images from Earth's past, scenes of humans overcoming impossible odds, surviving disasters, and uniting against threats far larger than themselves. "We have underestimated worlds like this before," the scout said. "Every time, we were forced to retreat, sometimes with great loss. Humans are not just survivors. They adapt. They learn. They endure. That is why we must not attack." The younger aliens scoffed. "You fear them because of what?" one asked. "A few weapons. A few battles. They are nothing compared to our fleet." The scout's voice grew sharper. "They are more than weapons. Their strength lies in their will. They fight for family, for ideas, for survival. They do not flee when the danger is great, they confront it. Every civilization that underestimated creatures like these has paid a terrible price." Outside the fleet, the scout focused on a small town where humans worked together to repair a damaged bridge after a storm. Children played nearby, unaware of the looming danger above. The scout's sensors picked up subtle patterns, how humans communicated, coordinated, and solved problems. It was not just intelligence, it was ingenuity, persistence, and resilience. Back in the command room, the commander leaned forward. "Explain this carefully, Scout. Are you saying these humans could actually defeat us?" The scout's gaze was steady. "Not defeat in the way you imagine. But they will make any attack costly. Every ship we send, every weapon we fire, will be counted in ways we do not fully understand. And when we try to leave, they will pursue. They will not let us go easily. That is why I warn you, do not attack." A tense silence followed. For a moment, the younger captains exchanged uncertain glances. The idea that such primitive creatures could pose a serious threat was difficult to accept. But the scout did not waver. Its warning was clear, unyielding, and rooted in experience. As night fell on Earth, the scout's thoughts returned to the humans it had observed. They were unaware of the alien eyes above them, living their lives as if the universe had no dangers. Yet, the scout knew that their simple lives belied an extraordinary capacity for endurance and courage. It was a warning not only to its fleet but also to the galaxy: humans were not to be underestimated. Somewhere deep in the alien fleet, discussions continued. Plans for minor probes and tests were debated, but the scout's warning hung over every conversation like a shadow. It had become clear that Earth was different from any world they had encountered. Every suggestion of aggression was met with doubt. Every simulation of battle ended with unexpected human victories. Finally, the commander spoke. "For now, we observe. We gather information. We test lightly, but no full-scale attack. Scout, you have convinced us to be cautious." The scout gave a faint nod, but inside, unease remained. Observation was only the first step. The fleet's curiosity and impatience would not last forever. Humans would soon notice signs of the watchers above. And when they did, the true test would begin. The warning echoed again in the scout's mind, they will never let us flee. It was not just a prediction, it was a promise. The humans' determination, their unity, and their cleverness would soon become clear to the entire fleet. And the aliens had no choice but to respect it, or suffer the consequences. Far below, humans continued their daily lives, completely unaware of the eyes tracking them. They laughed, worked, and dreamed, oblivious to the cosmic forces studying them. But the scout knew that if these humans were ever pushed, they would fight, not for glory, not for conquest, but for survival. And that made them dangerous in a way that no alien fleet had faced before. The warning was set. The arrival had ended, but the story had only just begun. The alien fleet hovered in orbit, tense and divided. The scouts' warnings echoed through the command center, but impatience had begun to spread among the younger captains. "We have waited long enough," one said, its voice sharp. "The humans are weak. Let us test them further." The commander raised a glowing hand, signaling caution. "Do not underestimate them," it warned. One probe failed. Their response was clever, adaptive. A full assault could be dangerous. Despite the caution, the fleet could not resist escalation. Smaller attack groups moved toward Earth, testing the humans' defenses. This time, the aliens aimed at key communication hubs and power stations, hoping to provoke a reaction. But humans were ready. Emergency protocols activated automatically, and engineers rerouted power to critical systems. Across the globe, military forces coordinated like never before. Fighter jets, naval ships, and ground units moved in perfect harmony. Satellite arrays tracked alien movements, predicting their paths before they even entered Earth's atmosphere. Humans had not just learned from the first encounter, they had adapted their entire defense system. The scout observed from above, its silver eyes narrowing. "They are not just surviving," it said. "They are organizing, learning, and improving every second. If we push them further, they will become even stronger." The first strike caused minor damage, but humans turned it into an advantage. Engineers analyzed alien technology left behind and began developing countermeasures. Scientists discovered weaknesses in the alien energy shields, while hackers probed their communication networks, finding patterns in their formations. The aliens had underestimated human resourcefulness. In the fleet, panic and frustration grew. Some captains wanted to retreat, fearing further encounters. Others demanded a full-scale attack, convinced that humans could still be crushed with overwhelming force. The commander remained silent, watching the unfolding chaos. The scout, however, had only one thought: they will never let us flee. On Earth, civilians were drawn into the preparations. People volunteered to help with emergency responses, building temporary defenses and coordinating local networks. Even ordinary citizens contributed in small ways that added up to a massive collective effort. Humans were not soldiers by nature, but their unity and determination made them formidable. The aliens realized another truth: they could not simply destroy Earth without consequences. Every attempt to attack brought strategic counteractions. The humans' adaptability had turned the battlefield into a web of traps, defenses, and surprises. Each strike the aliens made was met with unexpected resistance. The scout watched a moment of quiet before the next wave of probes was launched. "They learn fast," it murmured. "Every action we take is anticipated, or they adapt quickly. These humans are dangerous in ways we cannot predict." Night fell over the planet again, but there was no rest for humanity. Teams of scientists and engineers worked tirelessly to strengthen communications, repair damaged systems, and plan contingencies. Ordinary citizens kept watch over neighborhoods, sharing information and helping wherever needed. The alien fleet began to understand the scale of what they faced. Humans were not simply strong or clever, they were relentless, adaptive, and united. Every strike only made them stronger. The scout's warning had been ignored by some, but now even the commanders were forced to consider it seriously. Finally, the commander addressed the fleet. "Observation is no longer enough. We must decide, continue small-scale probes or retreat to study them further. They will not be easily defeated. They will not let us flee." The scout's eyes glimmered as it watched Earth. Humans had no idea of the danger above, yet their response had already proven their worth. The escalation had begun, But the aliens were learning the hard way that these seemingly weak creatures were far more than they appeared. The first real test had ended, but it was only a warning of what was to come. Humans were adapting faster than the aliens could anticipate, and the stage was set for a confrontation that neither side would forget. The alien fleet grew restless. After multiple failed strikes, the younger captains began to doubt their own abilities. The humans had adapted far faster than expected. Even the scout, experienced and wise, felt a growing tension in the air. The creatures below were clever, relentless, and united in ways the aliens could barely understand. The fleet decided on a major strike. This time, they would target several key cities simultaneously, believing sheer force would overwhelm the humans. Massive ships descended from orbit, their energy weapons charged and ready. The scout, however, warned again, its voice calm but firm, "Attack cautiously. They are prepared. They will fight harder than you anticipate." On Earth, humans had anticipated this escalation. Hidden communication channels and encrypted networks allowed military and civilian forces to coordinate like never before. Engineers had studied the previous strikes and developed countermeasures, predicting alien movement patterns. Humanity had turned their defenses into a living web, connected, flexible, and adaptive. As the alien ships unleashed their first wave of energy blasts, humans responded in ways the aliens did not expect. Drones intercepted missiles, fighter jets executed precise maneuvers, and satellite-guided defenses disabled portions of the alien fleet's targeting systems. The aliens realized too late that the humans had set a trap. The scout watched in awe as humans turned the attack against the attackers. Coastal cities emitted electromagnetic pulses that scrambled alien sensors. Decoy energy sources misled their weapons. Military and civilian teams coordinated perfectly, making the aliens waste energy and resources on empty targets. Every attack they made was countered, blocked, or redirected. One alien captain tried to retreat, but the humans had anticipated that too. Long-range tracking systems and automated drones blocked escape routes. Ships that had thought they were fast enough to flee were suddenly trapped in a net of human strategy and ingenuity. The scout whispered, "No matter how fast they run, humans will not let them escape." The aliens felt panic for the first time in generations. Their superior technology was ineffective against a species that fought not just with weapons, but with intelligence, coordination, and willpower. Humans were using every tool at their disposal: cyber attacks, tactical countermeasures, improvised defenses, and clever deceptions. In the chaos, ordinary humans played their part too. Civilians guided evacuation routes, communicated with rescue teams, and helped reinforce defenses. Every human contributed in small ways, yet together their impact was monumental. Even the aliens could see the strength of a united species, fighting not for conquest but for survival. The fleet suffered significant damage. Smaller ships were disabled, communication lines jammed, and several alien commanders were forced to retreat in panic. The scout had been warning them all along, but now the reality was undeniable. Humans were not just surviving, they were controlling the battlefield. Night fell again, and the aliens regrouped in orbit. The humans below quietly repaired damages and strengthened their defenses further. No one celebrated openly. They had learned that vigilance was crucial. Yet, each small victory fueled a growing sense of confidence. They had faced overwhelming odds and turned them into opportunity. The scout's warning had become prophecy. Humans would never let the aliens leave unchallenged. The trap had proven their cunning, resourcefulness, and relentless spirit. For the first time, the aliens understood that Earth was not just another planet, it was a crucible that tested strength in ways the universe had rarely seen. The stage was set for the final phases of confrontation. Humans had proven their adaptability and courage, and the aliens had learned that brute force alone would not succeed. The trap had changed the balance of power, and every decision moving forward would be weighed against the unyielding determination of humanity. The alien fleet floated silently above Earth, its ships damaged and its crews shaken. What they had once considered a primitive species had just turned the tide of battle with ingenuity, unity, and unyielding determination. The scout observed quietly, its glowing eyes reflecting a mixture of awe and fear. For the first time, the aliens realized that humans were not just survivors, they were extraordinary. Inside the command center of the flagship, the alien commanders gathered. The younger captains, previously eager for conquest, now avoided eye contact with the scout. How is this possible?" one whispered. They should have fallen to our weapons. The scout's voice was calm, almost reverent. They fight with more than strength or technology. They fight with will, with courage, and with unity. Each human contributes, even the smallest action has weight. They anticipate, adapt, and endure. That is why attacking them is dangerous. That is why they will never let us leave easily. Across Earth, humans quietly repaired damages and reinforced their defenses. Engineers examined alien technology and discovered patterns in their formations. Civilians volunteered tirelessly, coordinating supply chains, emergency shelters, and communication networks. Even without knowing the full scale of the threat, humanity's response was remarkable in its coordination and intelligence. The fleet's commanders began to see the truth. These creatures had something rare in the universe. They did not rely on sheer numbers or raw power. They relied on adaptability, creativity, and an unbreakable spirit. Every strike against humans had been countered, every strategy anticipated. And even now, the humans were learning from each encounter, growing stronger and smarter. The scout projected images to the commanders, families protecting each other, scientists solving problems in record time, soldiers and civilians working together seamlessly. "Observe," the scout said. "This is not weakness. This is strength of a kind we have rarely seen." A heavy silence fell over the room. Alien pride, arrogance, and the instinct to conquer gave way to a reluctant respect. They realized that Earth was no ordinary world, and humans were no ordinary species. Every prior civilization they had faced, every world they had subdued, paled in comparison to this unified force. Outside the fleet, humans continued their quiet vigilance. They did not celebrate. Their eyes, minds, and hearts were focused on survival, on learning, on improving. To the aliens watching, it became clear that humans did not fight for glory, for empire, or for conquest. They fought for life itself. And that made them unpredictable, formidable, and unstoppable in ways even advanced technology could not fully measure. The scout's warning resonated through the fleet once more: they will never let us flee. It was no longer a prediction, it was a lesson etched into the minds of all who had witnessed human resilience. The aliens had learned that brute force alone could not overcome determination, intelligence, and unity. For the first time, the commanders questioned their mission. Was conquest worth the risk? Could they truly defeat a species that adapted faster than any alien technology could anticipate? Some began to doubt their own strategies, realizing that further aggression might lead to disaster. And yet, above all, a quiet admiration settled over the fleet. Humanity had revealed something extraordinary, a combination of courage, cleverness, and compassion that made them unique in the galaxy. Even as the aliens plotted their next moves, they could not ignore the truth. Humans were a force to be respected, even feared. Night fell once more on Earth. The humans continued their work silently, unaware of the revelation they had forced upon the alien fleet. The universe had underestimated them, and now the aliens understood. Earth was defended not just by technology, but by a species whose spirit could not be broken. The stage was set for the final chapter. Humans had proven themselves in both action and character. And somewhere deep in the stars, the scout and its fleet knew that the next encounter would not be measured merely by weapons, but by the indomitable heart of humanity. The alien fleet retreated from Earth, battered and humbled. What had been planned as a straightforward conquest had turned into a lesson in respect. The scout observed silently as the ships drifted back into the void, their captains shaken by the unexpected resilience of humanity. Every decision, every calculation, had been met with ingenuity and determination that no alien technology could fully predict. On Earth, humans were unaware of the full scale of the battle that had taken place above them. Cities were quiet, people returned to their routines, and life continued as normal. Yet beneath the surface, engineers and scientists studied the strange energy signatures left behind by the alien fleet. Governments coordinated in secret to improve defenses, preparing for a universe that had just learned the strength of humanity. In the aftermath, there was a quiet pride among humans, not a boastful one, but a recognition of what they had achieved together. Communities that had been scattered by fear now worked in unity, sharing resources, knowledge, and vigilance. The attacks had shown humanity what it was capable of when facing a true threat. Above Earth, the scout transmitted a final message to the remaining alien forces: these humans are not to be underestimated. They are clever, adaptable, and relentless. We cannot fight them without paying a terrible cost. Remember this. Even as the fleet moved away, the lesson was clear. Humans had earned their respect, and in some ways, their fear. Despite the retreat, not all aliens were convinced to leave peacefully. Some younger captains plotted in secret, unwilling to admit defeat. They watched Earth from afar, curious and cautious, knowing that underestimating humans again would be a fatal mistake. The scouts' warning remained in their minds: they will never let us flee. For humanity, the events had changed more than just defenses and strategies. People had glimpsed, in small ways, the vastness of the universe and the potential threats beyond their planet. They had learned to trust in their own resourcefulness, in their unity, and in their ability to adapt to unimaginable challenges. Ordinary citizens had become heroes without ever realizing it, their collective actions shaping the outcome of the first interstellar confrontation. The night sky returned to its peaceful appearance, but the stars now carried a different meaning. Somewhere beyond Earth, alien fleets watched silently, unsure of when, or if, they would dare approach again. Humanity had proven itself, not through superior technology, but through courage, intelligence, and an unbreakable spirit. The scout lingered a little longer, its senses observing humans quietly. It recorded, analyzed, and noted every detail. In all its years of traveling the cosmos, it had never witnessed a species so tenacious, so clever, and so united. The fleet had been forced to retreat, but the scout knew this was only the beginning of Earth's story. As humans slept beneath the starlit sky, oblivious to the cosmic struggle above, the universe had learned an important lesson: underestimating humans was dangerous. Their ingenuity, courage, and unity made them a species that could not be easily defeated. And somewhere in the darkness of space, those who had fled whispered among themselves, already planning the next encounter. Earth was safe, for now. But the warning remained: humanity would fight, adapt, and endure. They would never allow their planet, or their species, to be taken lightly. And the stars, silent yet watchful, held the promise of new challenges yet to come.